Hi, it's Evelyn Olivares again. Welcome back to Winning Hearts and Minds. This is video 3 of 3, and welcome back. I'm really pleased to see you here again. So we finished in the last session with I asked you to take a moment and to look at your additional resource guide and nominate, choose, 3 people that you have been in conflict with at some point in time, perhaps. And those people, of course, are the perfectionist, the 8, the protector or the knight, and the 6, which is the questioner or the skeptic. So take some time to consider. If you hope you already have done that. If you haven't, do it now. Pause the video now and go ahead and do that. So take some time out to consider when you may have found yourself in conflict with these people. Because the last two, the 8 and the 6, of course, are the more reactive types. And consider for a moment. Consider, can any one of these types be you? Could be, yeah? So if they are you, if they're not you, that's okay. But just take some time to consider. What was the issue really about in this conflict? What was the issue about? How was that a problem for you? What did it cost you? And is this something you'd like to consider changing? Would you like to change that right now? How could you turn this around? What's the biggest bonus in doing it differently? What will changing this allow you to do? Some great questions there. So ponder that and make some notes as much as you can. So in this section here, we're going to be comparing the different types in groups, in the harmonics groups. So of course the positive types are the 9, the 2 and the 7, and the competency-based types are the 1, the 3 and the 5. So when there is conflict, what happens in the mind of these individuals? So if you're looking at it from the positive, if you are a positive outlook kind of person, when you're in conflict with someone of the competency-based outlook, you'll be thinking things like, this other person is focusing too much on the details of the problem. They keep repeating that there's a problem. Yes, I know, that must be solved. I get that. I don't think there's such a big deal. There isn't such a big problem. What's the big deal? What's this all about? Sometimes I think that the other person should just go off and fix it themselves. Yeah? So, and you'll say something like to yourself, well, why are you being so negative? Fine, let's talk about this. Yeah, we'll talk about it for 5 minutes and then let's just move on. Let's go and watch TV. If you're a competency outlook person speaking to or in conflict with a positive type, this is the sort of thing that you'll be telling yourself or expressing. I have a problem-solving approach and a strategy all set up. But this other person doesn't seem to want to solve the problem. Sometimes I think the other person doesn't even believe there is a problem to be fixed. Okay, let's look at the problem, focus on it, and solve it. So what's the resolution then? If you're a positive person in conflict with a competency-based person, recognize that the other person really wants to solve the problem. In fact, they may take charge in the problem-solving effort, but they still want your input. If you're competency-based, to resolve the conflict with your positive counterpart, appeal to their desire to have a positive outcome. Remind them that with their input, we can solve this problem together, quickly, and soon have it behind us. Let's now look at the reactive versus the competency outlook. If you are a reactive in conflict with a competency-based outlook, then you're thinking, this other person is not emotional. They obviously don't think this is an issue or this issue is very important. And you get frustrated because the other person is jumping ahead to solve the problem before you've even had a chance to fully understand and internalize the scope and magnitude of this problem. And you'll think to yourself, why are you trying to solve a problem we don't fully understand? If you're a competency-based outlook, the resolution for this other person is you're thinking things like, the other person is overreacting. They're so overly emotional and pessimistic. This other person is frustrating me because they keep focusing on how bad the problem is without wanting to fix it. I'm trying to resolve this problem, but they're stuck dwelling on it. Yes, I know there's a problem. I'm trying to solve it. The resolutions from the reactive perspective toward the conflict outlook. Don't expect the other person, the competency person, to react emotionally, because they just are not usually comfortable with expressing their feelings in that way. You can communicate to them your concerns more effectively through logic than through heightened emotions. This other person uses logic, so give it a go. The resolution from the perspective of the competency toward the reactive. Try to express some emotional concern, either for the magnitude of the problem or your desire to fix it. If you can't respond emotionally, then try to paraphrase what they are saying and acknowledge their concerns. Engage them. Seek their opinion on your logic. Let's look now then at the reactive versus the positive. So if you're reactive in conflict with a positive outlook person, you're thinking, this other person minimizes the importance of the problem, or worse, denies that the problem even exists. You feel that they don't really understand the magnitude of the problem. The more I express my concerns, emotionally of course, being a reactive, the more they seem to ignore them. They may also change the subject or distract you away from the problem. I'm really ticked off at you, and you should be too. Why does this not upset you? From the positive perspective, to the reactive, you're thinking, this other person just keeps repeating how bad the situation is. They're overly pessimistic, and it seems they won't be happy until they've made me upset. I don't think this is such a big deal. Isn't it a beautiful day outside? They'll just change the whole conversation on you. So the resolution from the reactive perspective toward the positive. Remember that the other person, the positive outlook person, has a hard time dealing with negative or painful feelings. So don't expect them to react as you do. Try to focus on solving the problem rather than repeating what a bad situation it is. From the positive outlook, the resolution toward the reactive, recognize that the other person, the reactive type person, needs you to acknowledge the presence and importance of the problem. Paraphrase the other person's concerns. Validate their concerns, that their concerns are warranted, and tap into your own innovative character to help find the solution. In your additional resource kit, guys, from page 10, I talk about the ADKAR model. And the ADKAR model is a management model that you would have learned, in your university studies or your tertiary education studies. There was a guy called Jeff Hyatt, or he's a guy called Jeff Hyatt, and he wrote a book back in 2006 on change management, the people side of change. Now I'm going to explain it to you very, very briefly. I'm not going to spend too much time on it here, but you can access this information in the additional resource kit and also in your learner's guide if you choose to do that. So the acronym is ADKAR, and it's awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So, and this, of course, is your question 6. Your question 6 is the last question before your true-false. And I'd like you to write down, in brief, some of what's on the screen here now. So, awareness. Is the person aware of the need to change? Really important. Are they aware that from each person's perspective that there is a situation? And if they are aware of that, wonderful. Once they're aware, do they have the desire to support the change? Because everybody needs to know what's in it for me. What am I going to get out of this? So if I support this change, what's it going to do for me? So using awareness and the desire, then you move on to knowledge. And the knowledge is how to change. And each person's knowledge base it happens in training. Now, when we're referring this to conflict or disputes, you now have the knowledge, an alternate method of addressing conflict and disputes. And that knowledge you've gained here in these 3 videos, and in the material that you've been making notes on, the additional resource kit and the learner's guide. You have the knowledge. You can watch this video and these videos over and over again for as long as you choose to. You can reinforce your learning. It's really, really important to do that. Give it a go. What have you got to lose? Try the alternative method of communication in conflict using the Enneagram. So you have the awareness, you have the desire, you have the knowledge, your ability to achieve the change. Do you have the ability? Absolutely you do. There are always psychological, almost always, and or physical blocks. You've got to jump hoops. You've got to jump over boulders that fall on the road. Psychologically, you have some monsters in there, voices talking to you and telling you this way and that way of what you're going to do. So pick up the phone, send an email, ask for help. If you have the awareness, the desire, the knowledge, you certainly do have the ability to achieve the change. Reach out. It really is quite simple. So having that ability, what you want to be doing is reinforcement to strengthen and build longevity. The more you use these tools, the more easier it becomes. And we are each accountable for what happens in any situation. We're accountable for our own person. We are accountable for our own attitudes. We are our own problem. And we are our own salvation. In regards to accountability, from my perspective, as a trainer, as a teacher, to my student, I always say, I am 100% responsible for my training, for my teaching. And you, as the learner, are 100% responsible for your learning. This is not a 50-50 scenario. It has to be 100%. So you can reinforce your learning here. Keep an open mind. A parachute will only serve you when you jump out of a plane if it opens, correct? So stay open and you will learn so much more. So that's in brief what the acronym ADKAR is about. In regard to decision making, we're almost there, guys. We're almost at the end. So how do these people make decisions? How do these personality types make decisions when they're in that frame of mind? How do they make decisions? Well, number one, the perfectionists, they'll say, well, just do it right. Just do what's right. When it's right, the decision's made. Number two, will say, well, what if people get upset? They're always concerned about how it's going to affect other people. Number three, will decide, well, what's the most efficient choice here? Because they're very focused on getting the job done, right? The dog with a bone. What's the most effective choice? Once they have that, they will make a decision. The four is, I really have to ponder this, and they do. Yeah, the four and the five are the deepest, are the kind of the deep sea divers, if you like, of the whole 9 types. So they're going to want to take their time, think it through, and really ponder it. Number 5 is going to need extra, apart from just pondering, they're going to need extra facts, more information, more time to do their own research, to really check it out. Number 6 will say, well, the worst thing to do, or the worst thing is to make no decision at all. So they will make decisions. They are very good decision makers, and they make decisions quite quickly. Number 7 is the innocent adventurer, of course, and they will say, well, what are all my options here? Because they're looking for a variety of options, many options, and then they'll make a quick decision of which way to go. The 8, the knight, or the protector, it's simple. They act from the gut. If it feels right, I'm going to do it. Simple. Really, really simple. Do I have to make it now? That's the 9. Do I have to make my decision now? They want to procrastinate. Yeah, and that's pretty much in generalizations again, but it's pretty much how they think in regard to decision making. Decision making today, guys, is, from an organizational perspective at the organizational level, especially our leaders, they have to make decisions each and every day, and the cycle time for making these decisions is ever faster. Yeah, it's just like the train's left the station and it's on a roll. The Enneagram decision-making application allows you to make really well-founded decisions using your head, using your heart, and using your gut, but also taking into account the organizational structure, which is really important. So let's look, before we wrap up, let's look at the decision-making strengths. So I would like to think that by now you will have identified your team. Who in your team fits better into which particular types most of the time? Of course, they're all going to change because all 9 types we have in us. But what's their favorite, persona? What is it that they're projecting to you most of the time? And you want to know that because you want to take advantage of their strengths. So with the perfectionist, their strength is they trust their gut, but they use their mind to make sense of their gut reaction. They operationalize things and they make decisions quickly. The nurturer rely on their feelings and their senses around with other people, and they impact other people. They can easily enlist other people to follow decisions. So that's a really good thing. That's a really good type to have on board. Number 3, the achiever. They make decisions quickly. Yeah, they consider everything, look at the pros and the cons, and then they move quickly. They put a plan together quickly, and then they take action quickly. They are very, very quick. 4 is the creative. They make well-considered, value-based decisions and utilize their intuition. They're very intuitive people. They read other people's very, 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 very well. The 5 uses logic. They want things logical, and it needs to be thoroughly reasoned. Everything needs to be analyzed, and they need to take their time before they make a decision. They want to access all the facts before they'll come to a decision. Give them time, give them space. The 6, the questioner, they think through impact. What impact is this going to have on the organization? What impact is going to have on our department? What impact is it going to have on me and my career? What impact is it going to have on my family? Yeah. So they're always looking out for danger. What impact is this decision going to make on, So that includes possible scenarios that could include or become obstacles once they've made a decision. So the 7, the innocent adventurer, they perceive multiple options for possible decisions, as well as they look for variety or pathways, different pathways for execution. Number 8 is the knight or the protector. They make instant decisions, instantaneously, gut-based decisions using their intuition. That's it. Let's do it. Take big action, and they like to understand the systems, but they will do it quickly. They make very instantaneous decisions. The 9 is the harmonizer or the peacemaker. They integrate varying viewpoints and alternatives using the 360-degree perspective, and they enlist other people, of course, through consensus. So that's pretty much it, guys. I truly hope that you've enjoyed this training session for the Managing Conflict and Disputes and Winning Hearts and Minds. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really have enjoyed working with you over all this time. And now it's time to go out and play. Go out and play. Utilize what you've learned. Put it into action immediately. You can do this. And again, come back as often as you choose to watch the videos over and over again. Thanks for being here. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.